Every year, a few hundred of the most mentally and physically conditioned soldiers on the planet enter the crucible known as U.S. Army Ranger School. They arrive hoping to earn the coveted Ranger tab, but before they can conquer the mountains or the swamps, they must confront the cold, dark truth of water. This isn't just a swim test. This is the Ranger water jump, a mandatory phase where the body's natural instincts are weaponized against the mission. And there is one specific task, one terrifying moment that stops more than 60% of candidates cold: the Rucksack Dunk. To understand why this jump is so lethal to a candidate's future, we have to look at the three critical failures Ranger School is designed to expose: discipline, equipment management, and panic. Candidates arrive at the water jump point already depleted. They're sleep-deprived, malnourished, and carrying their combat loads, often 60 to 80 pounds of gear. Their mental operating system is running on fumes. The mission is always the same: simulated airborne insertion over a water obstacle. The jump itself, often from a high, intimidating structure, is designed to induce immediate sensory shock. It's a jolt to the system. When they jump, their survival depends on one thing: the scramble. The ability to instantly shed the heavy load, transition to swimming, and keep that essential 80 pounds of gear from sinking. This is where the failure cascade begins. The margin for error is measured in seconds. If the candidate misses the procedure, the water will claim the rucksack, and without his mission-critical gear, the candidate's journey ends immediately. The statistics confirm the brutality. 60% fail this exact moment. The failure isn't swimming. The failure is rigging. Before the jump, every candidate must secure his rucksack using specific military knots and straps. When he hits the water, the primary task is to release the pack's quick-release buckle and immediately establish buoyancy. Here's the technical snag. When that 80-pound bag hits the water, it becomes an anchor. The candidate is pulled underwater, and two immediate physical responses hijack his motor skills. One, the gaping reflex. The shock of the cold water, especially when hitting hard, causes an involuntary gasp. If the candidate hasn't secured his mouthpiece or is disoriented, he instantly takes on water, leading to panic. Two, the disorientation and the harness. The rigging is designed to keep the rucksack accessible, but when panic sets in, the candidate struggles to find the release mechanism, often a single buckle that must be found by feel in the dark, cold water. The weight of the submerged pack turns the harness into a suffocating, restraining system. The most common mistake isn't being able to swim, it's failing to maintain the correct procedure under pressure. They panic, struggle against the water instead of the gear, and lose the precious seconds they need to transition from falling to floating. The instructor cadre isn't looking for brute strength. They are looking for tunnel vision discipline, the ability to ignore the panic signals and follow the procedure, even when every cell in your body is screaming, "Drown." The 6 out of 10 who fail lack that final critical layer of mental armor. What happens immediately after the dunk? For the 60% who fail, their training is over, but the failure is less about losing the gear and more about the psychological damage. The rucksack isn't just equipment, it's a psychological anchor. It contains everything needed for mission survival: maps, food, specialized tools, and protection. Losing it in the cold, dark water symbolizes a complete loss of control. The Ranger instructors are watching for one thing during the dunk: the decision-making process. Did the candidate immediately focus on the release, or did he waste precious energy struggling against the water? For those who succeed, the rucksack becomes a temporary asset. They can use its waterproofed components to aid buoyancy, turning the enemy's anchor into a lifeline. This switch in perspective is the mental turning point that saves them. The ultimate stressor is the cold. The water temperature, often during early morning or late-night operations in the swamp phase, quickly induces hypothermia. This is a deliberate tool used to strip candidates of their fine motor skills and rational thought. The 60% fail because when the cold numbed their fingers and the shock blurred their vision, they couldn't execute the simple, rehearsed procedure. They lost the battle against their own primitive instincts. The human body is programmed to panic in cold, dark water, and the ranger candidate must learn to override that code. The ultimate stage of the water jump isn't just about reaching the shore, it's about transitioning to the mission. Once ashore, the successful candidates must immediately secure their weapons, check communications, and rally into a formation. There is no time to warm up. The shock must be compartmentalized and the objective prioritized. For the 40% who persevere, the water jump becomes more than a pass-fail moment. It is a profound lesson in self-mastery, the knowledge that they can function, problem-solve, and lead even when their body is in a state of crisis. The failure rate isn't a flaw in the system, it is the system. The Ranger water jump is an honesty test. It doesn't test strength, it tests will. Did you practice the procedure until it became involuntary, or did you rely on luck? Why do 60% of elite soldiers fail the Rucksack Dunk? Because the Ranger tab is not awarded for succeeding when things are easy. It's awarded for executing the simplest, most fundamental procedure when the world, cold, dark, and heavy, is actively trying to pull you under. The only way to survive the Ranger water jump is to prove that your discipline is stronger than your deepest fear. If this deep dive into elite military training opened your eyes to the power of procedure under pressure, hit the like button and subscribe for more stories of ultimate endurance.